Hey guys, I'm Greg.
And I'm Ashley.
And this is the Living and Learning Podcast. On this podcast, we speak with fascinating guests to uncover how they've experienced life change by crossing cultures,
Crossing borders,
and expanding their worldview.
So, let's dive in. Greg, I'm so excited to be with you today. I got to have a conversation with Rachael Kinoshita about homestays in Ecuador, and it's kind of her student experience. But the cool thing is that our heart and desire for students with any location that they're in is that they jump into the culture. And so this is a fun way and a stretching way that Ecuador actually does it is through homestays. So I'd love to hear a little bit about your take with Rachael's experience in her homestay time. What was your takeaway?
Yeah, I just finished listening to your conversation with Rachael, and yeah, she studied abroad with us a few years ago. So she's actually had some time to really reflect on it and sit with it. And she shared about some funny moments, some awkward moments, some really challenging moments that she experienced herself. I think the single standout moment was how she shared about the new empathy she had for her parents. So her parents immigrated to the U.S. from Japan and didn't know English well when they got here. And so they struggled a lot trying to figure out communicating with Americans. And Rachael she knew that intellectually, but until she sat for a month in a home with Ecuadorians, not knowing Spanish, feeling like an outsider, she had a brand new sense in a really deep way of what her parents experienced. So that was a major takeaway for me as I heard Rachael's story. I'm excited for all the listeners to get a chance to hear this conversation with Rachael. So let's jump into it.
All right, let's do it. All right, today I'm here with Rachael Kinoshita, and she was a Spring 2019 student. And we're going to focus today on homestays, which is a fun part of our program. Students get to join in and do a 1-month stay with the Ecuadorian family. So they plug in and get to know the culture of Ecuador through that experience. And today I want to bring you a student perspective. So Rachael's going to share a little bit about what that was like. Maybe tell me a little bit about what life has been post-Ecuador.
Yeah. Well, after Ecuador, I went back to APU, finished up my bachelor's of social work. I graduated spring of 2021, and then I just graduated with my master's of social work this past May as well. And so just living that unemployment life, but looking for jobs, hopefully in schools. I want to be a school social worker. So that's my goal. And then just being involved at church. Our group is actually going to Romania this Saturday.
All right,
so super excited. Yeah.
It's going to be so much fun. So as we look at homestays, I think one of the big things, question marks for students coming into our program is, man, what does the first day feel like? Like, maybe explain to me a little bit about what that looks like, showing up for your first day and the feelings that are attached to that, and then like meeting the family for the first time and how it is entering into that homestay.
Yeah, I feel like it's really chaotic. Like there's so much going on. We're all just packed into that building, and like all the students in the cohort are there, the faculty are there, and then the family starts rushing in. So lots of people, really tight space, but everyone's really excited. We all have our gifts and stuff. So there's a lot of newness. And I feel like with that, personally, I was really anxious. You're meeting this whole nother family you've never met before. Like you're living with strangers for a month in a foreign country. Like that's unreal. I feel like that just doesn't happen. So I had a lot of anxiety going in, but I feel like just upon meeting the family, my family was super welcoming, just made me feel so loved, and was super intentional from the get-go. They took us around downtown Quito, just showed us around, and took us on adventures like right off the bat. So that was super special. And then me, like I have dietary restrictions, so
that's tough.
Yeah, like it's rough, and especially going to a foreign country, you just don't know like how accommodating you can be. But
what that will look like.
Yeah, for sure. They were like super intentional. They took us to like 3 different bakeries trying to get me gluten-free bread. And so
way to go, family.
Yeah, so super sweet. And yeah, so right off the bat, like I felt a lot more comfortable, eased a lot of my anxieties. Like I knew I was going to be okay.
I love that. maybe describe your family a little bit. Like, was it a mom and a dad and then some kids in the house? Like, what did that look like?
Yeah, so we had a mom and a dad, crazy, crazy dog.
Were they older, younger?
And then, yes, I feel like they were around my parents' age. So, like, that was really comforting for me. And then they had 2 daughters. One was a few years older than us. And then the other one was pretty close to me and my homestay partner's age. So we clicked really well with her. So that was really nice.
That's awesome. Did you enjoy having a homestay partner, like having Amberly, who was your homestay partner? What was that like, having her in the house with you? And she is part of our living and learning program as well. So you partner up with another student from the cohort. So Rachel's was Amberly. And what was that like?
Yeah. So I didn't really get to interact with Amberly that much beforehand, but we definitely got to know each other in that month.
Yeah.
And it was honestly the Lord. Like, I'm so thankful that I got partnered with Amberly, just because she's like such a light, and she knew a little bit more Spanish than I did. So I definitely used her as a crutch. Just like communicating with the family was a little bit hard. So it was nice that I could lean on her and we could just lean on each other. I feel like that's the biggest part. You're just going into something completely different. It's nice to have at least some sort of familiarity with you in that home. So yeah, that was really nice.
That's great.
Yeah.
I'm sure she was really fun to have.
Oh, for sure.
You were talking a little bit about communication being a little challenging.
Yes.
I would love to hear maybe what are some challenges being in a homestay family? What does that look like?
Yeah. I feel like leading up to it, you're surrounded by your apartment mates. You speak English like most of the time, to be honest. Like, the only time you get to really use your Spanish and like engage with the culture is when you go shopping or if you're like walking around in the community. So just like being thrown into a home and like only speaking Spanish was definitely rough.
Yeah.
And for me, I was like Spanish 101 levels. So
like, I don't know how to say, where's the bathroom?
Yeah. I'm like, I can say there's the dog, So it was really hard and definitely challenging. Lots of miscommunication. There's actually like funny stories. Like, me and Amberly, obviously she speaks a lot more. So at the dinner table, I definitely use her a lot. And so for me, just like sitting there and like nodding my head most of the time, even if I didn't know what was going on.
I feel like I know what's going on, but not really.
Exactly. Just smile and nod. It'll be okay. And there was one time we were all like sitting around the dining table. So this is like kind of unheard of because we usually sat in the kitchen to eat.
Okay.
And then there was like family there, like extended family and like friends. So it was a little bit more than our usual family. So something's off, but I don't really know what's going on. But we're all eating dinner and it's like pretty nice. And Amberly's like down the table from me, and I don't know, they're all talking real fast. So I'm just hanging out, and then all of a sudden, like, Amberly just like kind of started chuckling a little bit. And so then I started laughing, and then the whole family started laughing. So we're all like having a great time. Like, I'm like, okay, like, this is fun. Like, we're all getting to like, I don't know, like, just engage together.
Yeah.
Don't know what's going on, but fun. And then once everybody left, like all the guests were gone, then our mom and the youngest daughter, she like sat us down. She was like, yeah, I don't know if you guys knew what we were laughing about. We're like, no, not really. And I don't know what Amberly was laughing about. I think she was like choking or something, to be honest with you. But then we found out that like the family was talking about a family member that had passed that day. And then Amberly had conveniently laughed at that exact moment.
Announcement time.
Yeah. So it was kind of like the family was like laughing at us and then laughing with us.
Like, these girls have no clue what's happening.
Yeah.
They are not tracking with the grief of the family, but they think it's funny.
Yeah.
Wow.
So definitely a little awkward, but they laughed with us. Yeah. And now we can laugh about it, being on the other side of it. But
being a couple years out, it's a funny story to tell back. But one of the neat things about living with a family like that and having kind of the trust of the program, trust with the families, they obviously know you guys weren't really tracking with what was going on in the Spanish realm.
Yeah.
But yeah, being able to kind of laugh about that experience because it was awkward and a little hard and a little weird, but
it's a little
funny story now, years later.
Yeah.
It's like, That's awesome. Miscommunication can really hit you hard when you're in a homestay.
For sure. Definitely will have a lot of moments.
That must have been a challenging moment. Anything else you kind of want to share in that challenging realm, or feel like that's the hardest part is the communication piece?
Yeah, I feel like that was the biggest one. Our family was amazing. Like, just like, was so intentional in every other way. Like, even if we couldn't communicate, they like loved on us in other ways. So yeah, honestly, that was our biggest hurdle that we had to kind of overcome or try to navigate around. So
yeah, well, way to go. You did it.
We did.
Amazing job. The families also have like a task. I think Living and Learning gives them like a desire for them to show you and show off the city and say, hey, show them the best parts of Ecuador and the things that you love about where your home is. And so I'd love to hear kind of maybe some of the snippets that you got to experience while you were there. What were some of the places that they showed you? What were some of the fun things that you got to do with your family?
Yeah, they honestly, every time, like, they're so sweet. I think our biggest adventure was with the Wallow.
Okay. Yeah. A local artisan market, about an hour and a half outside of Quito.
Yeah. Very big. Like, very, very big. So they showed us around that. They showed us around a lot of marketplaces. And I think the cute part was like the dad always would point at things and be like, seen gluten, that's gluten free. Yeah, exactly. So he'd be like, you can eat that. You can eat that too. So they were always very intentional. Just showed us around a lot. We went to like a waterfall, which was beautiful. Just driving us around, honestly, throughout the whole city. We explored, honestly, everything. So every little detail. Yeah. So
did they take you to any fun restaurants?
I feel like we ate at a lot of like local little shops. So we definitely ate at a shawarma shop a lot. Like, that was our go-to place. Like, we ate a lot of that. Kind of like the running joke of our family was that the mom didn't cook.
Oh, she didn't? Yeah, That's kind of unique, I feel like.
The kids would always tease her that she didn't cook. She likes baking. So she would always bake cakes and stuff. So we usually eat a lot of chicken, like just like local stores chickens and...
Chicken's good?
Yeah, I wasn't complaining.
So you didn't really get the experience of the fresh juices. I feel like a lot of mamas are like making fresh juices for the students in the morning.
Yeah,
and
she definitely did. Yes, I did get the juice stuff. Yeah, it is. It was so good. And I feel like we ate bread every single day. It was always the juice and the bread. And so, yeah.
Such a Latin thing. I love that. So as you kind of reflect on your experience, like, what were some of those life-changing or even impactful pieces of the homestay part that you're like, man, this was really meaningful to me?
Yeah, I think just connecting with the culture. I think that's the biggest part about study abroad, right? It's like you want to immerse yourself into a culture that you don't really know.
Yeah.
And I think it's so easy to just be in the comfort of your apartments and like people that you speak the language with, but just being pushed out of our comfort zone and living with the family who obviously lives there, has grown up there, was pretty like unique and like I'm gonna live with it for the rest of my life. And then for me personally, I feel like it gave me a lot of empathy for my parents, like who immigrated from Japan, like they didn't speak the language. So I feel like for me to experience that, I had a greater appreciation for them and like all the work that they had to do trying to learn English when they came here. So I was like, wow, this is rough. Like, I'm never going to complain again about like being able to speak the right language. So, yeah.
Man, cross-cultural immersion can be such a stretching experience, but also such a growing time to help you interact with other people better. I'm glad you had that time.
Yeah.
One last thing that I'd love for you to leave us with. What would be something that you would want a student that is incoming know?
Oh, honestly, just soak it in. It goes by so fast. You think 4 months is going to be forever.
Yeah.
But I feel like it passed by way too fast. Like, I could have done a whole year, you know? So just taking every little moment, embracing the awkwardness, laugh it off. You gotta. But yeah, just like being intentional. I think being intentional with the families, being intentional with the cohort, because, right, like you're only going to live there for 4 months.
Yeah. You got a short period of time. Jump in. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Rachael. So glad you took some time to be with us today.
Thanks so much for having me.
Of course. Loved it.